8 weeks, nay, nearly 25 years, and it's all come down to this. But is this worth all the fuss? Welcome to Half-Ass Movie Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Half-Ass Movie Podcast, a show where we put together a half-ass theme as an excuse to watch movies. My name is Adam Porters, and joining me today, he's too is obsessed with the Great British Bake Off. Sweet Sean's a Kovacs from the internet.
No. Please, we're friends. Feel free to call me the Cavalrine.
And he's still crying about the absence of a Blob cameo. Bruce Leslie is back, everybody.
Hey, you can't win them all. And hello, everybody.
Hey, listen, you know, we can soar to the heights of eagles and stuff, but every now and then you got to come down, and we can't always win them all, can we, kids? Moment of silence.
Wow, you really kind of went all over the place on that one.
I don't know.
I thought you were going to go with the tried and true bumper sticker, or, you know, something that would be on somebody's cubicle. Hard to soar with the eagles when you're down here with the turkeys. Like, I thought that's what you were going to say, and you didn't. You completely mixed your metaphor. It's awesome.
Hey, listen, you know, sometimes you think you might stay at home, but you want to take a journey. And all of a sudden, you're like, you know what? I'm going to take a step out and see what happens. You know, that's what happened to Sam and Frodo. They just kind of went on. You know, I did the same with that one. Guys, I
don't get that reference.
You wouldn't. Guys, over the last several weeks, we've been talking about these Ryan Reynolds movies, and we just finished up our 4 Hugh Jackman movies, all leading up to their first joint venture on the big screen with Deadpool Wolverine, and we finally get to see the fruits of all of those labors. We're going to talk about what that means for Marvel and superhero movies going forward, and we want to let you guys know in advance, if this is the first time with this show, we are doing heavy spoilers for Deadpool Wolverine, so unless you want this movie spoiled, turn back now. But I'm going to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure everybody's probably seen this one at this point this weekend. It's made $200 million worldwide. So they're off to a good start, it seems.
I'm seeing 438.3 million worldwide.
Oh, maybe I've got some old numbers.
Yeah, the budget was 200 million. You might have flipped those.
That's possible, but they're 200 for this. That seems like they're flushing money down the toilet. But maybe we'll get into that. But what was, at least as far as going to the movies, what was this experience like for you? Did you guys? I had a fairly packed theater on a Thursday night at like 7:00.
It wasn't the first time I've had what I would call a pre-COVID experience, but it was one of the few times. But it was, you know, I saw this in Orlando. And it was crowded. We were in the actual second row. I felt like I was watching it on a VR screen because my entire field of view was occupied with screen because of where we had to sit.
What theater you go see?
It was the big AMC there at Paradise Island or what have you.
Okay, cool.
For me, it was jammed as well, and I went on a Saturday at 2:00, and it was completely filled. And I got the last 2 seats next to each other. And I got them online. I got the seats online, and it was the last 2 seats next to each other. And it was people behaved. I was shocked. I fully expected it to be a nightmare, but it wasn't.
Oh, I agree as well. I thought it was going to be an absolute people turd fest. And like the possibility for that to be, because if you've ever been to like a Dragon Con or something when there's a giant group of Deadpools, let me tell you, it's not always the most pleasant of experiences. They get a little wild, a little crazy, that group there. So I was prepared for that. And while I also, because I kind of took that a little bit in mind and everything, I pushed myself purposely all the way up to the second row. So there was like nobody around me. So that was just lovely. But I heard enough goings on behind me that I can definitely report back that people were, for the most part, very much enjoying this. But we'll get into all that kind of good stuff and everybody. But before we do, we want to say thank you to the people that support this show over at patreon.com/HMP. Those people get pre-show, post-show, Dinger Zone. Coming soon, Sean loves spaceships. After that, Bruce loves sandwiches. I don't know what's going to happen. Who's to say? But all that kind of good stuff. And on our Dinger Zone this week, we talk about our top 5 duos, our favorite duos based upon this Deadpool Wolverine. So we got actors, characters. Who are our favorite guys? Go check that out. Patreon.com/HMP. Join up at any rate. Whatever you think this show is worth, just throw that our way. Keep this show going at the same time. And we appreciate all of you guys that do, man. It's so lovely of you guys to do that week after week, month after month. year after year. So thank you so much. And go rate us on iTunes or drop us an email, halfasspod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. All right, boys, it's been a long time in the making. Let's get into it. Here's the IMDb plot line for Deadpool Wolverine. As we know, IMDb always 100% correct in everything they say and or do. Wade Wilson is offered a place in the MCU by the TVA, but instead recruits a variant of Wolverine to save his universe from extinction. Glad I didn't read any of this plot or anything before going into this. I knew like little to next to nothing about this movie. I don't think I saw a single trailer. I think I saw like maybe the first 10 seconds of a trailer, and I saw the TV and I was like, that's enough. I'm done. I want to just show me the movie, please. And I ignored everything up until this point. So I was kind of astounded by that. This is written by, hold your seats for this one, Ryan Reynolds, Rhett Reese, Paul Warnick, Zeb Wells, and Sean Levy. This is directed by Sean Levy, who did Real Steel, Date Night, Night of the Museum, Free Guy, and Stranger Things. I didn't even know that Sean Levy was directing this till about 2 or 3 days before the movie came out. I didn't even know that. And when I saw like a picture of the three of these guys on set looking at a monitor and everything, I was like, hey, that guy looks like Sean Levy. And then you're looking like, oh, he directed this movie? I was like, dude, okay. All of a sudden, I was like, because I was trying to temper, man. I was trying to temper. We've all been burned by a lot of Marvel stuff here lately. So I've tempered expectations and everything, but I'm not going to lie to you. When I saw Sean Levy holding that monitor and everything, my anticipation turned up a little bit. I was like, oh, and we'll talk about whether or not that was the right decision here. This is starring Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Emma Corrin, Matthew McFadden, and many, many cameos that surely we'll get into.
I was surprised to learn how long Sean Levy's been in the business for. He's been in since the 90s, which I was completely shocked by.
Totally curious here. What is it that you guys are most impressed with by Sean Levy?
That he's able to hop from genre to genre pretty effortlessly. He can shoot action well. He can shoot comedy well. He can shoot drama well. He's kind of one of those, like, he doesn't have a style really, but everything that he shoots is really. This is going to sound pejorative, but I don't mean it to sound like that. But it's everything he makes is very competent.
Well, yeah, and that's why I was curious, because you guys both seemed like a little more impressed, I guess, than I did at Sean Levy, because my idea of him is just a competent working director, just a solid work for hire director.
Which honestly, and let me explain what I mean by that, Bruce. And you are correct, and that's what I do like about Sean Levy, is that he is kind of a very reliable type director. Now, I'm not putting him quite on the same plane, but like a Steven Spielberg type of, like, you give him just about anything and he's going to handle it fairly deftly. He's going to, just try to adapt to it as best that he can. And he makes movies that really tug at the heartstrings and know how to hit you in those emotional places. He knows how to hit those beats. When you look at his movies and stuff, that is something that it feels like he definitely prides himself on, is hitting that emotional connection in a movie. And when I saw his name attached to this thing, the reason that I got excited is because those last two movies, I'm sorry, but were directed by stuntmen. And God bless the stuntmen, they put out some good looking stuff. But their problem is, and if you look at all the movies that are recently directed by stuntmen, they lack one big giant thing: heart. They just don't have it. So you can hire the right stuntmen to do all your stunt stuff, but at the end of the day, you got to have somebody that can direct these actors, and you got to get the right folks behind it. And we'll get into the gloriness of Hugh Jackman, no doubt.
I'll just say that, considering that they were directed by stuntmen, I think they were phenomenally good.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, listen, we got to call a spade here. And the fact is that the action stuff they were good at, the regular stuff, it not nearly as good. It just is what it is.
Okay.
And I have to say that, not to get too deep into this movie yet, because we've just started, but I think that it is very telling that this movie is very long. It's what, 2.5, 2:15.
I never looked.
And you don't feel it at all.
No,
I thought it was sub 2 hours. I really did.
I did too.
It's a long movie. And then on top of that, because of all of the winking to the camera, because he mentions constantly all of the inner politic of making Marvel movies, all of that generally takes away from a movie. Like, that joke is a funny joke, but that joke kind of takes away from your movie. And yet somehow this movie was able to do all of these things. And by the end of the movie, it's still a movie. Because I think that in lesser hands, this movie is not nearly the magic trick that it is. Because there are a lot of ways this could have gone, and it would have been like, oh, come on. Oh, man, you got to be kidding me. Like, I didn't have that moment where I'm rolling my eyes watching this movie. And I fully expected, especially because right away it's look at my balls, like all of that stuff that happens with Deadpool all the time in his movies.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't matter because it's so well made. This is a damn good movie. Like, the way that it's put together, I did not expect to like it as much as I did. Especially since, how often is it where all three movies in a franchise are good? That is so
incredibly rare.
Yeah. I mean, Marvel does it from time to time. I think that all three of the Captain America movies are great. I think this is great. But like, from time to time, there are things where you're like, especially with Marvel, where you're like, man, like, are all the Thor movies good? No, not even close. All the Iron Man movies aren't good. Yet this pulls it off. It's pretty, it's kind of magical that this movie is as good as it is.
It's interesting that you say magic, though. Hold on, Bruce, because I got a magic point on there, because I think you're absolutely right. And I think that magic is actually so good that there is a section of people who don't even see the magic just yet. And what I mean by that is I am hearing a lot of people saying that there is no story in this movie, and those people are so dead wrong that it's unbelievable. Because there's so much that's going on here, like that kind of not just references to all the Marvel stuff,
character arcs in this.
There's a lot of stuff going on, but I think so many people are just seeing all the references and mentions and stuff and going, well, it's just fan service and all this stuff, and go, it is that stuff, but it's not just that stuff. Because if it was just that stuff, this movie would suck.
It's like it's written by people that can't help but write with a little bit of quality. Like, it doesn't have to have quality, and yet it does. Does that make sense? Like they brute force and sneak in what I would call meaningful, constructive stuff in here. It's not all just fluff. Right.
When you look at the names on listed for the screenwriting and everything, Sean Levy's name is at the bottom, which ultimately, to me, from what I understand from my research of knowing how they lay out the names and stuff, is he probably had that last pass on everything. Still worked enough to, earn an actual credit at the bottom of that thing. But if you're the last one on there, chances are you were the one who kind of went through and did that final full everything on it. And I think that's what, given his previous pass and everything, I would say that that's what put a lot of the heart into this movie.
The big one for me is just the big difference between something that is so very lame, which is Ant-Man Quantumania, and you're in the quantum realm and all that crap, and just how unsatisfying the quantum realm is versus where they are in this movie. Those two things, it should be for any like action, fantasy, adventure kind of thing. This should be taught in school. This is how you make this thing. This is not how you make the thing. And because it is so satisfying from the jump when you first get to what is it called? Nowhere?
Void.
The void. When they first get to the void, I not one time did I feel myself going, I cannot wait till they get out of here.
Oh boy, there were some. Have either of you seen Mad Max Furiosa yet?
Yeah.
I have not.
Oh boy, I knew that you had, Adam, because I remember us talking about it.
Pre-ordered the 4K Steelbook.
I was really, when you saw in this movie, in the void, all of a sudden they have a 4-motorcycle chariot coming up.
Yeah.
Were you expecting Hemsworth to be on that bad boy like he was?
Yes, but I think that was on purpose.
Oh yeah,
it has to be. How is that not?
Well, that is such a mentioned unique thing.
A 4-motorcycle motor. It might be the actual same motorcycle for all we know.
Well, they do mention it in there. It's just like, oh, well, this would be IP infringement or whatever. And of course they pull up the was it Juggernaut's head or whom? No, it's Sabretooth's head saying, "You're Furiosa Queen" or whatever the hell it was, whatever the line was. But so yeah, they definitely knew what they're doing.
Is that Chris Hemsworth in the video where he's crying holding dead Deadpool?
Oh yeah, that's from a previous movie. They just edited.
That's the
Deadpool
scene from Dark World, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they took a scene from Dark World and just like deep faked Deadpool into it. I kept waiting for Hemsworth to show up.
So I mean, it's tough to say where there's
so much to tackle here. I just want to go into like that was cool territory. Can we just do some of that?
Well, let me give you just a quick thing because my experience with it. I want to see if you guys had a similar one to it. When the movie opens, it opens very much like kind of previous Deadpool films that we've seen. We get this cool action scene. We get all this sort of stuff, and we get we're gonna show you how we got to this point, kind of thing. At this point, I don't feel it hasn't struck me yet. This feels like every other Deadpool movie that we've seen at this point. So I'm like, okay, this feels like what we're gonna see. And there was part of me that did kind of go, did they have the balls to just actually make Hugh Jackman only in this thing for like 5 minutes? Because we had speculated that might be a thing that like he's maybe in it maximum a half hour or something like that. And again, I thought that's kind of ballsy if they do that, but they didn't. Thank God. And I think we got a much better product at the end of it. But at the beginning there, I did not think this was going to go spectacularly well because I feel like the audience was kind of like, They weren't quite into it yet. I think there were some jokes and laughs in there that were supposed to be bigger, but just didn't hit with the audience and everything. So I thought, are we going to get I didn't think it was going to be bad, but I thought it was going to be a little bit mediocre. But boy, oh boy, it shot up like a rocket from there.
And I was kind of at some point wondering how this wasn't the first Marvel movie to get an NC-17 in the Disney era. There's so much blood and violence in this SOB.
But it's over the top, and that's what to me it's like it's like a kung fu film at this point when it just gets so bloody and crazy and stuff that it's not even real anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they also just shave. Like what they do is they'll submit it if they get back an NC-17 rating. They want to know specifically what got them that NC-17 rating, and then they shave down what they need to shave down.
Oh, I thought it was Eisner calls the members and he says, okay, what kind of cars do you all want? We got to get this in our rating.
And we'll see, only if you're big enough do they tell you what to cut out. Because if you're small, they just go you figure it out. And then you just start making creative choices that then, make your movie crappier.
If you're really big enough, you just bribe them and nothing gets cut.
Hey, listen, I wouldn't put it past.
Get me one of those Clarence Thomas SUV things.
This new John Waters film is rated G. Bring the kids.
Your poop, kids.
Bring the kids. Yeah, put. So yeah,
go ahead. You know what I was surprised by? This should show you, because I think it's something we haven't spoken to for the last 2 months either. Is that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are basically, I don't know if this is their PR people or whatever. They're basically known as two of the nicest guys in Hollywood. That they're really easy to work with. They're really about the product, about the whatever it is they're making at the time. They are the consummate professionals, and they're also really nice
go-getters.
And so when you're looking at when you're looking at this movie and you see all the people they're able to pull in, because there's no way you're getting the people that they pull into this if these two guys aren't some of the nicest people in Hollywood to work with. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because absent from this movie is TJ, whatever his name is.
TJ Miller. Yeah. I mean, they even made the joke, hey, we don't have Chris Plummer money or whatever that was in part 2. They want to take him out of 2.
And I think that should tell you something about TJ Miller, that you are able to pull all of these people into this movie who generally would say no to this, and they're all saying yes. And the reason why is because you are the problem.
Yeah, I'd probably say that's probably accurate based upon like I mean you hear that then
Are
your
you talking
Silicon
to me
Valley
directly,
stuff.
or you say that T.J. Miller's the problem?
A little column A, column B.
I like to
one.
think that they
As
all
l-
agreed to go back to Deadpool 3 if I promised not to show up. It's like, well,
It's,
I'm kind of hurt, but also sort of flattered in a strange way.
He resolves so many strikes this way. We just send Bruce in. We're just like, he's gonna do it. Like, all right, we can come to a conclusion. Figure it out.
So one of the things that I think I was most surprised by, because they do, there are so many member berries in this movie, but it's done well, member berries instead of,
That's the
Rogue
difference.
One.
It's the difference because like you have to be able to do it well. And I don't know about you boys, but like this felt like my entire childhood just being put out on a table for me and just put in real life action. And it was just unbelievably fun. It was just like, I can't believe we're getting all of the things that we're getting. But here's the best part. We saw them all in about as much as you really wanted to see any of them. Because as much as we want, like the cool idea of your Age of Apocalypse Wolverine is, you don't want to see that for a whole movie. You don't. You don't.
Well, they are really smart about that, because not only do you get Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, but you also get the real size Wolverine.
I love that. That's part of the movie.
And they're just showing you, this is what this looks like.
Is this what you
this
wanted?
is what you want. This is what this looks like.
But not for nothing. I sat there. I literally, it came out of my hands. I couldn't help it. I applauded at that point and then kind of looked and go like, I still would kind of like this.
Silas was next to me and he said, look, that's Daniel Radcliffe.
Listen, I was hoping there'd be a Daniel Radcliffe cameo in this bad boy. A little bit disappointed that it didn't happen. But I mean, a Cavill cameo is kind of fun.
Yeah,
I would rather have had Radcliffe than Cavill personally.
I agree.
But there's so much politics to talk about if you have Cavill in the movie. Whereas
I love that.
It's one of those. How in God's name did they get Wesley Snipes to play Blade?
When they asked him to, he's never said no to playing Blade ever.
What is the conversation? Also, it makes me think that maybe Ryan Reynolds has some sort of like he's a silver-tongued devil, because there's no way that good times were had on the movie, on the Blade movie that Ryan Reynolds was on.
Yeah, the stories from that movie are just ungodly.
He's poo-pooed it publicly,
I like the idea that we've all got caller ID on our phones now. So Ryan Reynolds calls up, what's his name? Blade, Wesley Snipes. The phone rings. He sees the caller ID, he just answers and says, I'll take it. I'll do it. He says, you didn't even let me say hi. I'll do it. I'll do Blade. I got the costume on right now. I put it on first thing every day. You know why? Because I am Blade, mother bleeper. And then the rest is history.
I want to go back and look and like really dissect some of the cameos and stuff like that to see precisely how things were shot, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Because you want to see if they were all in the same place.
Yeah.
One more thing about Blade too. Did you at first, Sean, have to ask yourself if the white goatee was a conscious decision or an accident?
I think that's probably wardrobe who did that.
I was looking at first. I thought he had like soap suds on his chin or something. It was really an odd choice.
I thought that was just Wesley. I don't know.
It might just be Wesley Snipes, but it looks so distinct, and I don't recall that from the Blade character.
No, that's wardrobe, man.
No, it wasn't in the Blade character, but I thought it was just I could be wrong, and maybe it is an artistic choice, but I thought it's just like what Wesley's hair is now. I could be wrong.
Whether it's Wesley Snipes' personal choice or wardrobe's choice, it is a bold choice. I couldn't have come up with that one on my own.
I like it. It puts a little contrast on him. Looks good.
It's smart. Yeah. It's the smart move.
And he doesn't look miserable to be there.
No, he looks like
also
he's
looks like
having
he can't-
fun.
Yeah.
But he does look like he can't move. The years maybe haven't been as kind to him as they have to others.
Well,
And he also has one of the best lines in the movie where he turns to the camera and they're never going to make another blade. It's pretty great. Pretty great.
But yeah, Jennifer Garner coming back and having a fun anti-Ben Affleck line was a little fun treat in there.
Had to explain that one to the lady.
How great is this movie at avoiding leaks and spoilers? First off, I think it's just easier in general with what I will call the rapid decline of social media. Just the whole spoiler atmosphere, the whole spoiler avoidant activities that I used to have to engage in. Like it just all is easier now. Just in general.
There's no prize for being the first one to say that this thing happens in this movie. Whereas I think even 5 years ago, you would be rewarded with clicks, but I don't think that that's the thing anymore. And it seems to be going away, which I'm very pleased with.
I am too. And I think that the biggest part is probably the decline in social media, because there just aren't as many opportunities and it's more like face to face. And also, people get better at things with time sometimes, not always, but maybe people are just getting better at it. But I can't believe how much they kept in. But are you guys familiar with the Alpha Cop idea?
Yes.
Can we talk about this, Adam? Are you familiar at all, Sean, with Ryan Reynolds' original idea for the movie Alpha Cop?
No.
Ryan Reynolds puts together some ideas that sound very Adam Porters-esque in as much as like, this sounds like a really great idea. And in theory, it'd be very, very cool. But in reality, that will never work.
Alpha Cop is going to be a movie where Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, when they combine their brains, they make the perfect cop. They make Alpha Cop. So it's going to be 2 cops, 1 brain, all balls. That was going to be the tagline. And it was going to be made to be kind of like that Jack Black talking motorcycle movie, like intentionally kind of bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 10 minutes into it, or maybe not even that far, but maybe 5 minutes into it, suddenly the Marvel logo comes up and then it introduces that you're watching Deadpool Wolverine, and there's not been any promotion or anything. There's actual fake trailers, fake movie posters. And then on opening night, boom, the bomb would be dropped.
See, is that not
the most amazing, ballsiest thing ever?
Is that not an Adam Porters idea? If you've ever heard one, come on. That's me all day long.
I think you can pull that off if Marvel isn't in free fall, right? I think if
you don't pull that off with $200 million in your budget.
No, but I think that if you have something like a Deadpool 3 in the rear view and you're the guy who made it, I think he could pull that off now. I think he can do whatever he wants now. I think he has a complete blank check, Ryan Reynolds. Because not only is
no
he
cocaine.
now Marvel Jesus, now he is in fact Marvel Jesus, as he says in the movie.
Went ahead and named himself that too.
It's a really great nickname, and it's kind of correct.
This was the right movie to really seal the deal with bringing the Fox universe into the MCU. Like this was the right movie for it, because it is just so seamless here. I mean, it seems so smooth, and I don't question it at all. By the end, it feels like it's always been that way. This is just some excellent storytelling, filmmaking, franchise, unprecedented franchise ship with the quality of these 3 movies. And then also saving a whole cinematic universe, perhaps, that went from the top to the laughing stock, trying to make their way back up with this, which is certainly going to make a run at being the number 1 movie of the year.
Oh, I think there's no doubt this is going to be number 1 movie.
And another record for R-rated movies, man. Hollywood is going to keep making these.
Boy, I don't know about you guys, but the amount of children I saw in an R-rated film.
Yeah, me too. I was kind of blown away by that.
Woo!
Like, I mean, there's like 10-year-olds, 8-year-olds.
Yeah.
I was like,
but it's you know what? It's America. So if there's no nipple, we don't care about violence.
It's fair.
True.
It's fair. Now, let's talk about this for half a second because, again, I think this feels like having Sean Levy in here alleviated some of these problems that we'd seen. Maybe I would call problems from previous films. Is while there was plenty of it, it didn't feel like we were just going, for lack of a better word, dick and fart jokes all the time.
No, but they also had a lot more to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. This movie has to pull off three things basically at the same time. It has to be a successful sequel to Deadpool. It has to get Deadpool into the Marvel universe, and you have to have a satisfying storyline. And for all three of those things to work, you need to pull back on something. And so pulling back on the dick and fart jokes is exactly the right move.
Mm-hmm.
And basically making this movie a buddy cop movie was the exact right move. That's the only way you can make this work. Because now you've got this dynamic duo in Marvel that works. So now you don't have to pull the trigger, and you don't have to get you don't have to call Tony Stark and be like, hey, can you play Dr. Doom? Because now you have these two guys as well.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost you out the ass. And they keep making that joke at Deadpool where he's like, you're going to be doing this until you're 90. I love those jokes.
For what it's worth, man, Disney's having a strong summer with this movie. And then I didn't realize how well Inside Out 2 is just
it's killing.
Highest grossing animated film of all time right now. And I can't tell you a person who's seen it.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Wow. And then I also kind of forgot that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was a Disney film. So they're having.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's a Disney movie?
Yeah, because it was 20th Century
Fox.
Fox.
It was a Fox movie previously.
Oh, yeah.
But you can skip that movie. It's boring.
It's not so good, but it did well at the box office.
I'm still going to see it when it comes to Max the one to watch for HBO.
Oh, listen, you got a comfy couch, so you'll be cool.
If a monkey's talking, I'm listening. So
yeah, we know.
That monkey's got words. Yeah, look at him.
He's wearing a hat.
And again, I like them also talking about not only the things that were, but also the things that never were and never got to be. My God, having Channing Tatum come out as Gambit in an absolutely 100% 90s accurate costume. God bless, just beautiful. And how the movie gives us the things that we want, but also at the same time just kind of goes, that ain't really what you want, right?
I think I'm on
really
one
what
here.
you want.
It's kind of hard to say at this point. I love Gambit's character. I love how Channing Tatum has really embraced, I'm just like a less intelligent Rock, and I'm just going to stick with that.
Well, he's also funnier than the Rock.
Oh, and I did mean the actor The Rock. I meant less intelligent version of a Rock, the Stone.
Oh, I see. I was going to say, because what my next line was going to be anytime The Rock is brought up is, and also Channing Tatum has made good movies.
Yeah.
Tatum
has made a lot of good movies, and The Rock has made questionable choices throughout his career.
Tatum seems to have a good sense of humor about himself, and I always appreciate that in a celebrity.
Yes.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where I was just like, oh, he can make fun of himself. I'm definitely cool with that dude now. But he's a lot of fun in this. I love the stupid accent. I love us calling out the stupid accent. But at the same time, too, because in a lot of ways, Gambit is that corny, silly, only could happen in the 90s kind of character and whatnot. And it does look silly and corny, but there is an element of it that is
I gotta say,
cool.
man, in the 90s, I thought he was so damn cool in the 90s.
Well, of course,
1992, look at that costume. Look how awesome that costume is. His power set is so cool.
Leather trench coats.
He takes playing cards. He's got a bow staff. For God's sake, he's got playing cards and a bow staff. What could be cooler? And then you see him in this, and it's like, oh, this is all a joke.
Yeah. With the awesome Jim Lee collar and everything.
Oh, so good.
Oh, God, I love it so much.
There was a store in the background called Liefeld's Amazing Feet.
Little Feet.
Did you guys see that?
Yes. Just Feet. Liefeld's Just Feet.
Just Feet. That was it.
Yes.
I like looking for those things in the background too. That's the only one I caught. I saw a picture of Stan Lee too, but I didn't quite see what it
Mhm.
was ad for.
Stanley Steamers, get it?
Oh,
Huh?
taking a number 2.
Jennifer Garner, it's kind of strange how much she adds to this movie. She adds more to this movie than I would argue than Wesley Snipes does, than Henry Cavill does, than a lot of people do. It's kind of surprising because that version of Elektra ain't great, but it's Jennifer Garner. So it's like, oh wow, she's great in this.
Now, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I'm leaning into missed opportunity, but also you guys very, very well could feel differently. And in particular, I feel like Levy and Ryan Reynolds probably felt differently. But why no Ghost Rider if we're dredging up the past?
Oh, that's a good point.
And I mean, is there anyone notoriously more easy to get to take a job than Nick Cage?
Maybe maybe that's one of the things, like, oh, you can't touch that right now. We're working on something. Because they've been talking about that Midnight Suns thing forever.
Yeah,
that might be it, but it's hard for me to imagine that Ryan Reynolds doesn't consider it at least. And this
Sure.
is Nick Cage, so there could be a thing where it's like, man, he's just too difficult for what we're doing. We got this great vibe, and he could bring it down. It could be something as simple as that, or it could just be like Nick Cage is not interested.
Yeah.
Strangely, he's too busy doing Willy's Wonderland 3, but he's not interested in something.
hey, listen, all they got to do is just CGI his ass like they did in the Superman film.
Oof.
That's all you got to do.
That was rough.
Just CGI him in there, put him in. And here's the best part: no one will know the difference. They'll think, "Oh, we shot that for real."
But if,
they're kind of in the same place, right? The Flash movie from last year and this movie, they're kind of in the same, like on the same ball field, right?
Okay.
And,
eyebrow raised. Let's see where we're going with this.
Well, the reason is that if they would have made the Flash correctly, they would have completely collapsed the multiverse, right? Instead of what they ended up doing. And they would have completely had a new beginning for the DC universe. That's what they should have done with that movie. Instead, it's kind of like it's kind of weird how much there's like how many bad choices they make in that movie versus this movie where almost all the choices are great.
Yeah, it's tough to like, and again, I think, like you said, this movie being, as long as it is, but doesn't necessarily feel like that, is their ability to catapult you through that story, because each little tiny thing leads to that next little thing, and it rolls the entire time. But let's kind of get into what I think is one of the reason this movie is as good as it is, and we've been talking about it for the last 4 weeks, and that's Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman absolutely destroys this movie. He came to work so hard, but
he's
again,
a good actor.
We look at everything exactly. We look at everything he's been in, and you know what we've been saying in the last couple weeks. That guy just doesn't phone it home. He does not phone it in. He doesn't go like, oh well, I guess I'm gonna go to work a little bit light today. No, sirree, Bob. He is going in 100%. And again, I'm glad there's somebody behind the camera that he's done some work with before, so he can, be allowed to go those places and stuff, because I don't know that these scenes get directed this well by stuntmen.
He's almost like Tom Cruise, but without the crazy Scientology part to it.
Yeah.
Like the amount of effort that he puts into his work, where you're kind of like, because I buy him in every single thing he's done, you buy. I do love that he brings up the Music Man twice in this movie. Deadpool 3, really great.
Aren't you glad I got you to watch that, Sean?
You're never gonna get me to see that.
I was hoping that we would have him.
I watched the one from the 60s. I was forced to watch it when I was a child in a classroom. I'm never seeing that movie again. P that rhymes with T that stands for pool.
My favorite musical of all time.
Yeah, I know.
So good.
No. Well, if you like musicals, it's probably great.
I like musicals, but I like
Are they
Shapoopy.
ever going to stop singing? Are they ever going to stop singing? Are we going to get to the movie part of this movie?
No,
of course not. I knew that one. I knew the moment because when we were doing Greatest Showman and stuff, and Sean goes 5 minutes into this movie, and I already want to turn it off. As I was watching, I'm like, I knew when 5 minutes exactly was when the kids started singing, and I was like, yep, this is the point where Sean is out right here. The moment the second number starts and it's kids in a field singing, I knew Sean was gone.
that was Silas's first audition song when he was like 9 years old. He killed it.
That's cool. That's cool.
But Jackman, like without him in this movie is no
good. Oh, it's not even close, man. I mean, and also it doesn't get off the ground, right? Like you can probably make a Deadpool 3, but you're not making it for $200 million. That's for damn sure. And you're definitely not going to get I don't think there's a person in America who wasn't aware that Deadpool 3 was coming out this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The marketing push on this movie is insane.
It's a dream pairing. He manages to just keep, Ryan Reynolds manages to just keep giving us more of what we want and what we need in each one of these movies. And he builds it properly. He's able to step it up every time, getting Cable in the second one was like huge. And then here coming along and getting the actual Wolverine after 2 movies of tease. This is all great.
Man, after they save the day and they go and get shawarma, get the hell out of here. That was amazing. That was amazing.
And basically credit the Avengers for
shawarma.
Inventing it.
That's what I mean. So good.
It was great to see Daphne Keane again and not under 6 layers of makeup like she was in the Acolyte.
Man.
And, honestly, when she came on screen, it was so great. It just it felt so good. And like, even though that we know that these characters, like both of them are not from the same universe and, all the things have gone on, but there's still something there in that history. And you're just like, man, oh man, it hits perfect.
And she's got the best line in the movie too, man. Cause she's like, listen, you were never the right guy until you were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great line.
And, sometimes a kid seems really talented. I mean, she's doing the whole performance in Spanish, so I don't know if she's even getting her lines correct. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you're worried she gets a little bit older. She's doing a performance in English. Is it just going to be one of those things where it breaks your heart because you want to remember the kid is a good actor, but they just didn't grow into one? But no, I think she's great. Absolutely where she should be.
Yeah, I mean, she's bilingual. She's always been bilingual, right?
And I didn't realize that until she was in that Star Wars project.
Mm-hmm.
She a lot better in this than Star Wars, and that's not her fault.
That's not saying a whole lot, man.
Well, no, listen, like you're right. She had nowhere to go but up. But like at the same time, too, you do just go, oh, in the right hands, she can be fine. She could be a good actor. That's not her fault. We don't put that on her. Put that on you.
I one of the moments that I realized that Ryan Reynolds is a brilliant at knowing what people want is in this movie. He takes the good Deadpool and uses him as a shield to get to across the street. And Wolverine picks up the dog and not a single bullet is fired because nobody wants to shoot the dog.
I love it. Hey, this is the first time I have really been into a movie dog. I like this movie dog so much.
It is so deftly handled. It is because they don't even mention it. Like there's no big like, oh, we can't shoot a dog. Like there was none of that. It's just everybody's like hands at sides. Oh, walking across with the dog. It is so well done, and I gotta think that's a Ryan Reynolds. Like, look, no one is going to want to shoot this dog. So smart.
And of course, if Bruce loves a dog, it's going to be the ugliest dog in the history of dogs.
The dog's nipples were 4 inches long.
If that dog ain't the ugliest dog ever, it's damn close.
I love that. Was that tongue CGI or legit?
I think that's I could be wrong, and I might be talking out my butt here, but I think that is like what's considered "quote unquote" the world's ugliest dog.
I think you're right.
And then that dog,
he looks
is pretty
like
jacked.
One of those. What do they call those mutant mutts or whatever? They're like these little rubber toys. It's like one of those come to life.
One of the great things is that the goggles on the eyeballs make the eyes
It's
even
beautiful.
bigger.
Yes.
It's like, oh my God,
Pretty
they're
amazing.
already big and crazy, and we're going to magnify them even more. And this 5-inch tongue, you're like, what the hell is going on? And just licking his face. Jesus.
Let me start over. So I saw this movie with Lindsay, and Lindsay, she's deft at movies. She knows how movies are made, but she could not tell. She's like, "Is that Ryan Reynolds dancing at the beginning of the movie?" And I was like, "I don't think that's him." And we had to look it up, and it's not him dancing. He's not doing the NSYNC dance.
That's too bad.
And then later, when Hugh Jackman takes his shirt off, she's like, "Is that really him? That can't be him." And I was like, "I'm pretty sure they're sweetening that, but that's probably him." And
close.
We looked that up too, and it was him.
Well, the best part is that like they primed the pump early and just talk about how he's out of shape and just lost it and everything, and we never see him without his shirt the entire time. And then when we take it off, that is that true superpower that we're
Right.
seeing him just rippling like Ned Flanders. He just takes the shirt off and it's just rippling underneath. It's like, oh my God, yes. And the best part is how the mask stays on. Let's talk about the mask for half a second.
It's that classic mask. It's two Batman kissing.
God, I love it so much. It is
so
just
good. It's so much
perfect.
satisfaction in it.
Just perfect.
It makes me feel the way that finding an old comic book and reading it as a kid made me feel. A certain kind of happiness in an unhappy world that I have struggled to replicate as an adult. But I got just a little bit of that, seeing that mask and sharing that with my kids and stuff. Man, it was great.
Are we at a point now between your Deadpools and your Wolverines where we can just have this happen with characters now, and we can kind of go, like you said, more comic book accurate here, where it's like we got the white eyes and that's just how we roll? Can we? Is that a thing that we can do now?
It's a thing we should.
Yeah, I think we should, but I wonder if we will.
I think we'll get a mix. Everybody wants to have their own look. This is a pretty Deadpool look.
Yeah, I mean,
Spider-Man's doing good stuff with it.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, man. Like, I mean, Wolverine. Hugh Jackman's been Wolverine for 25 years. Like, and they just put the mask on it. Like, it's probably not something we're going to see a lot of. But a good way to tell what they think of accurate costumes is what Robert Downey Jr. is going to be wearing as Dr. Doom, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Robert Downey Jr. is taking his mask off all the time as Dr. Doom, which you know that he's going to because you got Robert Downey Jr. for God's sake. What does that look like? What are you doing there? Like, how comic book accurate is his armor and robe and mask to the actual character? Hopefully he looks like the Fantastic Four movie that they made a couple years ago, where he's like part robot. Yeah, and he's like part robot and stuff. Because that looked great to me.
I like the comic book accurate one from the Corman one that we watched.
Also very good.
I'm not being facetious. I like that design. I mean,
I was
higher quality.
I was being remarkably facetious.
Well, you want the quality to be higher, but I
Yep.
like trying to be comic book accurate. I don't really care for what they've done in the movie so far with Doom.
No, agreed.
It needs to look cool, and it's going to be one of the tougher things to do for them. But we'll, But you're right. The mask is coming off for sure, and it's going to be like, Reed, I don't think I can't.
You got to because you got RDJ. You have to have that mask off.
But okay, just in the quick speculations, whatever. Will he be scarred in any way, shape, or form? Obviously, you can take off the mask, but like he can't be like just smooth and clean under there. No.
I think that he is probably going to do what Robert Downey Jr. was doing by the end of his time as Iron Man, where he's never Iron Man. Like, okay, yeah, I'll step into that black box where it looks like I'm in the Iron Man suit, but I'm not wearing the Iron Man suit. I'm not going to have the faceplate thing. Like, it's probably going to be the same level. I think we're going to do a lot of like from exterior. We see the
armored up Doom fighting or moving or flying, and then we'll see like the Tony Stark face from the inside while he's looking at his heads-up display or whatever.
It's like Brendan Fraser on Doom Patrol. He is never once, not once, in the Robot Man costume.
Yeah.
Oh man, speaking of Brendan Fraser, the guy that played Paradox in this movie, like the British rogue TVA agent, at first I thought, like, I was looking really close to see if that was Brendan Fraser that was cast in that role.
I was not aware of this actor. I thought he was okay. Wasn't totally wowed by it. A part of me goes, maybe somebody else could have been in this role, but he was good enough. I didn't no real complaints, I suppose.
We also haven't spoken about Emma Corrin at all, and
I really like what they did with her.
She's
I
great.
like this villain, and it's the Fox universe struggles with decent villains, and this was a perfect one.
Yeah, Cassandra Nova, during that run in, what is it, early 2000s?
Yeah. It's like
Something
03,
like
04,
that,
something like that.
And I thought that she was the perfect villain at the perfect time for the X-Men. And to pull her into this is a really smart move and a good way to move forward, too. Because if they want her to come back, she can. Same with Wolverine. Same with Deadpool. Like every one of these characters, you're back to zero with all of this. And that's the smartest move you can make. They did it.
And she looks so good, stylized great.
She looks good. She really looks to me like the kind of like that Grant Morrison run. I guess that's what you guys were just saying, but I think she really communicates what I like a lot about the comic run.
Like she's like a pretty version of a Quietly Drawing. It's wild.
Yeah.
Did you guys know her from anything else? Because I knew her
She
from
was in
A Murder at the End of the World.
She was in The Crown as Princess Diana.
Oh, she was Princess Diana.
That's what I was told.
Did
I don't
not
watch
know
The
that.
Crown.
Nor I.
I good stuff.
Yeah, she was great, man. And Morena looked great.
Oh, fantastic.
Morena's been in these movies for 10 years now herself.
That looks like she's aged
great.
it all.
It's mostly a flashback.
Right, but she still looks
good.
Great.
I'm a fan. I'm never going to not be a Morena Baccarin fan. That'd be hard for me to imagine.
And did you guys run into the same problem that I did where it's not a problem. It's where I thought they were going when Deadpool is in Happy Hogan's office and he mentions the big man. I thought he was speaking about Kevin Feige at first because, Favreau was the director of the first two Iron Man movies.
I like how that works on a couple different levels. I didn't even think about that.
No, my brain just went to he was talking about like I'm gonna go talk to Stark now. Can I go talk to Stark because you're his boy?
So just me then.
No, listen. I like the meta-ness of it. I maybe not. Maybe.
Also, did you have any idea who was under the cloak when they first get to the Void, and Deadpool calls him "you beautiful, beautiful man," and it's like, okay, so this is somebody we know. Who could it be? And he pulls the hood off, and it's Chris Evans.
I didn't know who it was. I was expecting it to be Chris Hemsworth.
Me too.
And then when it was Chris Evans, I was expecting it to be Captain America because they show a little red, white, and blue around his wrists.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
So when he's flamed on, I rolled in my chair laughing. I totally thought it was perfect, and I did not see it coming.
They totally got me.
I knew he wasn't Cap. I knew that. I think we all first thought it was, but like the second that you see his face, and I was just like, nope, I know what we're doing here. And when it's so good, I was beyond thrilled.
They got me. I did not know that's where they were going with that.
And it's like there's some points, and I'd love to go back and kind of like do it again because I was a little bit further ahead of the audience as far as seating goes and everything. But like there were so many times where I felt like there were a couple of jokes and everything and inside little bits and bobs here and there that like I got that it felt like I didn't hear other reactions from and stuff. And I may have been too far away from, but there were so many moments like that in this movie.
Here's a question for you. What if instead of Captain America, they had Killmonger pull that joke off where you think it's Killmonger and he flames on?
That would have been cool too.
I don't think it's as funny. Something
It's
about Michael
not.
B. Jordan
It's not
is serious.
especially.
And Chris Evans makes me laugh.
There's
I might
also
be racist.
something.
I'm worried.
There's also something kind of like goofy about him as Johnny Storm, whereas Killmonger as Johnny Storm is not goofy.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah.
It's just kind of incorrect casting.
But and how he's summoning back this old character with obviously like a little bit more age and everything on him, but like he's still kind of channeling that snarky, snotty Johnny energy.
Once he cursed, I was like, "Huh, didn't see that coming."
But here's the thing: Johnny would curse, though. Johnny be a cursor.
Johnny
totally
he would, but I didn't think it was. We were looking at Johnny at the time when he cursed.
No, fair.
Also, good to see B-15 from the TVA.
Oh my God, love her so absolutely much. Gosh,
she's great in this. She's great in Loki, both seasons, and good to see she's not taking Ozempic.
Yeah, if she looked different, it would change everything. Do not change. Do not get any different, because I love this actor. She's doing such a great job. She was like somebody, like, if you go back and listen to our Loki episodes, it started out like, oh, is this just going to be? And she turned into just this fantastically well-designed character that they, mapped out and everything. And it continues on in this. So when you see her, not only do you have that passage of the stuff from the back and everything, you further along the character even more. It's like she sees what's his nut there and just like, ooh, a little meat cute. It's lovely. It's so much fun. And let's talk about the sound, some of the music choices and stuff, because believe it or not, I was dodging stuff about this thing so much so that I would literally turn on the Sirius XM and they would be like talking about, hey, ladies and gentlemen, they got the Deadpool Wolverine albums coming out and they got all kinds of stuff on it. And I'm like, click. I go to the next channel and I shit you not, the next one's talking about Deadpool Wolverine as well. I turned it off at that point. I'm like, no, you're trying to ruin everything for me. You're saying that it's all over the place. And so to a degree it is.
The franchise has a good history of needle drops. So I imagine you're talking more about the needle drops.
Correct.
So the one that's always going to be the highlight for me out of the whole franchise is probably going to be 9 to 5 from part 2. What would you say was the definitive needle drop from part 1? I feel like X going to give it to you as in all the previews.
That was one. What was the salt and pepper one is probably the one I think most people probably remember from the first one.
For the first one.
Yeah. I'd say that's probably the definitive one there. This one, it's a little bit tougher. Now, the Madonna recut, at least it's a recut version, so that's fine. I think AC/DC must cost a nickel to get an AC/DC song in something. I wish it would have been just about anything else but that. And I'm not as anti AC/DC as you would imagine Sean would be, but like I still was just like, this has to cost 5 cents for you guys, because my word, you could get something else, anything else.
And I like the music on it though. I think my favorite needle drop, what I was trying to get back to for me, would be the was it Backstreet Boys or NSYNC?
NSYNC.
Yeah, they did the NSYNC song while he's murdering people with adamantium bones. I just love the whole choreography. There's some kill scenes that I'm a real sucker for, and Deadpool had one I was a real sucker for here with that corpse fighting.
Well, they're also doing. I mean, they're saying more than just the needle drop, because they're saying goodbye to 20th Century Fox. It's really there's a lot of double meanings in this movie.
They're also kind of saying goodbye to the old Disney MCU without a Deadpool in it, because I mean he is going straight to desecrating Hugh Jackman's corpse to a beloved boy band. I mean, he's kind of saying, look, we're breaking the Disney mold here too. So it's not goodbye Fox, but it's also goodbye the pre-Fox Disney, and this is some new thing that is neither of the things it was before. Kind of like how Vision is different from Ultron and the other guy.
Multiple meanings.
And at the same time, too, we're talking about like, your different multi-verses and different timelines and things of that nature and stuff. And this movie itself getting at the fact that ultimately, like, listen, us doing other things does not ultimately erase these previous things that were in the past. It
Right.
doesn't, it doesn't affect those things. Those things are still over there. We're not destroying or chopping off any of those timelines, so to speak, and everything. Those things all happened in the past, and those things are good, but you need other new stuff and stuff. So we're not pruning off those timelines anymore. They're still there for you guys to go back to, but we do need to kind of continue on. And I think that's a lot of what this movie was about, is saying goodbye and, really, because we thought it with Logan, but like, I really think that this was and should be the last, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, because like even him asking him on the bench and stuff is just going like, listen, are you going to be? And I look at that man's face and going, I don't think so. And I think
him and Ryan Reynolds have the keys to the kingdom, and he's going to do it until he doesn't enjoy it anymore. There
is no way, with the amount of money that they're going to offer him to continue on, to even make one more thing. There's no way he says no to it. Maybe he's not in the costume. Maybe he's not like fully in the movie.
Hey, the next Joker movie is going to be a musical. We'll give you a Wolverine musical if you want one, Hugh.
I think that they're really like, because even last week, Adam, I don't know if you remember or not, I was like, I hope this is it. I hope this is done for Wolverine. I don't want to see more Wolverine.
We've said goodbye once already. We have to say goodbye again. And
but after this movie, and knowing just what a gem it is, like there's no way that they're not going to offer him basically the keys to the kingdom to come back again. There's just no way. And I would imagine that the only way you can do that is through Ryan Reynolds, because it's the only reason why he said yes in the first place.
And boy, if you need a couple people to fill a leadership void, like among not just the characters, but sort of the acting appeal, you could do a whole lot worse than replacing them with Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds.
It's true.
Just imagine them rolling in as the new sort of Chris Evans, Tony Stark dynamic.
Yeah. I mean, and, they have their Quicksilver. Like, the good Quicksilver is from the Fox universe. Let's bring him back in also, because he's a great personality as well.
Even though they did kind of Jimmy with him and made him that boner guy in the Scarlet Witch show.
Right. I forgot about that.
Isn't there a statue of Scarlet Witch in this movie?
I thought that's who that was.
Yeah. This is another one you got to go back and rewatch a whole bunch of times, just because there's a gajillion things kind of going on in the background, and other little characters and cameos and little art things and little, bibs and bobs all over the place that you probably didn't recognize, and just some good stuff. Just as far as action scenes go, because we didn't touch on those too much, but ton of great action set pieces and stuff like that. Even ones that don't necessarily even go anywhere, like your Honda Odyssey fight and everying. It's ultimately just to watch them kick the shit out of each other, which is what you want to see. Like, that's kind of what we paid a ticket for, is to watch these, just inhuman guys just go at each other forever and a day. And, we get that several times, and it's good. Our good old boy shot is what I call it, where we're scrolling through and everything. Real great. Mm-hmm. So much. And in the jump out at the end, where the two of those, where they slow down into the comic book panel, essentially. And it's like, if your heart just isn't flying at that moment, you are dead inside, dude, because my God, just the 13-year-old Adam is just gleefully jumping through the air.
I've got to say, I can't remember the last time I went to a movie theater. It's been a very long time, because my experiences have been so poor in this town. But this is the most fun I've had at the movies in a very long time. And it was so nice to be a part of it. I think, I don't know the next time I'm going, but this was really great. And unlike with COVID, if this is the last movie I ever see at a movie theater, well, it was a pretty great one. It's a pretty good one to go out on.
Bloodshot.
Way better than Bloodshot.
Put it on the poster, everybody. I think there's still time to print for the DVD. Better than Bloodshot.
Well, as it turns out, when you have someone in your movie who cares and wants to be there and make the product better, your art better,
I will
it's
not
gonna
sit here and have you defame the name of one Vincent Diesel on this here program.
Not his real name.
No, are you sure about that?
I am.
No, his name's Mark or something like that. It's like a really not street name where you're just like Mark doesn't get jobs.
It's Vernon St. John.
Vernon St. John. That would be amazing if that was his real name. That'd be perfect. But yeah, just listen, there's so much to recommend this movie. You know what this movie, like I kept thinking about it this weekend because I saw it on Thursday. This will be a movie that you kind of just put on in the background. That you can have on in the background. You feel like you're hanging out with all of your friend characters that you've known for like 25 years and stuff. And like you're just reminiscing with everybody. Like you wouldn't have to keep 100% in it, but you'd come back in during the action stuff because that's all awesome and whatnot. But like it just feels like a great hangout movie that you will ultimately every time feel good about. Because that's, to me, at the end, it was just like, it just felt so damn good. And like, and again, this is why I feel like it would be an amazing thing. And they're going to do it just like Jackass. I hate to be that's the thing to compare it to. But like after like Jackass Forever, they were like, here's the montage of all the years gone by and everything. Isn't it lovely? Well, we're finally closing out this chapter. Fuck you. We're doing another one. And that's what this feels like they're probably going to do again, is we're all sending Hugh Jackman off to the big superhero farm in the sky and everything. But nope, we're going to bring him back for yet one more because you're right, Sean. Money talks.
Adam, what was your guess for Vin Diesel's real name?
Mark something. Gosh, I can't remember.
And I know that yours
starts
was
with a D, maybe?
No.
Last name? No.
Mark Sinclair.
Sinclair, damn it! Yeah, I knew it was something similar.
I wasn't too far off with my St. John.
Yeah, you ain't busting heads with Mark St. Clair. Nah, you got to go Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel, like Paul Walker and Mark St. Clair. What gay comedy is that? That ain't Fast and the Furious.
Sinclair.
Oh, Sinclair, my fault. Sorry, Vin. Don't sue me. All right, well, let's get down to it, boys. We got to figure it out. Is this sucker art or fart? Sean?
I would hate to call this thing art, but
hey, those are the choices you got, all right?
I know. So it is art. It's so much fun. It's so well constructed and well made. And it's something that I am going to go back to because I'm sure I missed a lot. But man, this is how you make one of these movies. And it seems like, hey, can you just match this? Like, I'm not saying do the same thing. Definitely don't do the exact same thing, but just match how fun this is.
It's like, you see the vibe, you see how much fun we're all having. Do that again.
Do that again, please. And so for that reason alone, it's art.
Bruce, outside of there not being a Blob cameo and Vincent, what's his nuts, not back at Juggernaut. I know that breaks your heart as well.
Vinny Jones.
Vinny Jones not
easily been a Blob cameo in this too. There's nothing that's keeping him from having a Blob show up.
But why no Vinny Jones? What are you doing, Vinny Jones? You doing something that you can't come in on this?
Died.
Did he die? No.
I think he died.
I'm surprised that's right.
What about the guy who played Sabretooth, the Kenny Mayne or whatever his name
Tyler
was?
Mayne.
Tyler Mayne. Did he die?
No. Well, he's in this movie, so I'm going to say no.
Then I think Vinny Jones died. Somebody died once.
Somebody died once. Also, a fantastic quote to put anywhere. So, why is Vinny Jones's name not coming up on IMDb? What the hell?
Still very much alive.
I was fairly certain he was alive. I feel like I would have heard that by now. There would have been Guy Ritchie out in the street crying.
Oh man, I never even thought about that.
But why him not in this? That don't make any sense to me. Of all the, if you can get Wesley freaking Snipes to come back and look like he's having a decent time, I don't know why you can't get Vinny Jones.
Man, you spent all your shekels on your two leads, and then you barely got enough for Wesley. You barely got enough for Chris. I mean, you got to save some money somewhere.
Channing, we all know he did that for free.
Why not on the guy who did the Juggernaut in one of the worst X-Men movie? It's not even the worst X-Men movie, but it's one of the worst.
He was convicted in 1998 of assault. Maybe that's what made me think he was dead.
Are
and
you
then convicted again in 2003 of assault?
that delicate flower? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I feel like you're
face.
feel like you're just lying to me to besmirch the man's good name. So
It's hard for me to believe any human would get close enough to him to be assaulted. He's a scary looking guy.
yeah, he does look frightening. Like
real-life
honestly,
Begbie.
if you are within striking distance of him, isn't that on you? Think about it.
I just go ahead and give him my wallet. See, there ain't much in there, but it's yours, brother.
Real life Begbie.
Just toss it in his direction. Hey, take it. Get out of here, fella. Well, that is it, everybody. Deadpool Wolverine, a good 20 plus years in the making, so to speak. But boy, what a road for these guys to get there. But I'll say this, they delivered.
Not too early to discuss this as potentially the best trilogy ever.
I mean, it's not. But
No, come on now.
It's really good.
Consistency all the way through. It's pretty good. Man.
Okay.
The second one is the weakest of the three, but it's not bad either.
Okay, I will join you if we throw in the caveat of comic book film. I'll take that.
Well,
but
that's fair. I kind of thought that was implied, but you know what? That was a stupid thing to think was implied because we don't do that.
No. But I'm just saying, it's like you think.
I'm not trying to put it up against Back to the Future.
Yeah, you put this up against Back to the Future, Lord of the Rings. I don't think so.
I'm putting it up against Guardians of the Galaxy and put it up against Iron Man.
Ant-Man.
I'd say
as far as superhero movies, we've had a good, complete, clearly defined trilogy. I don't think any's better than this one.
I'll put it to you this way: best third act of any of them, so to speak.
Yes.
As far as like from a third movie perspective, as far as like first, second, and third movie's third act, best third act of all of them.
Sean, I will
Agreed.
give you that all three Captain America movies are good, and that's one that's going to come down to like, do you prefer ice cream or pizza? Like they're just so different.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. Well, that's it, everybody. We got through our Deadpool and Wolverine run here. So our first round of theme shows and everything, we did them up right. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And thanks to the people that support this show over at patreon.com/HMP. They have voted and decided that our next theme will be headliner Matthew Broderick. In this series, we're going to be discussing 4 films of Matthew Broderick, where Matthew Broderick would be the last time that he would be billed above his movie co-star. And Sean, where are we starting this bad boy out?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's a movie that was my favorite movie from the time I was in 8th grade till the moment that I learned that Matthew Broderick had killed someone. That's about how it. But I this is one of the movies that I literally can speak along with. Also, as I got older, I realized, the character of Ferris Bueller is not the greatest guy in the world.
No.
So there's that too. But I still like this movie a lot, and I know a lot of stuff about it. So please show up for that, won't you?
This will be
I
interesting.
always watched it for Cameron. I thought he was the star.
I met Cameron in real life. Lovely guy.
Me too.
Alan Rucka.
Lovely guy.
Good, very, very, very nice guy.
He was on that show Succession recently. By all accounts, lovely guy.
So we'll be talking about Ferris Bueller's Day Off next week. Join us then for Bruce Leslie, Sweet Sean's a Kovacs from the internet. I'm Adam Porcher, reminding you that the only difference between art and fart is an F.